How do you feel about what's been happening? I know it's been tough on you.
Yeah, it's disheartening. I mean, it truly is. It breaks my heart that this is happening. I love the school district. I love the community. I care about the board members, and truly, I feel terrible that all this is happening.
What do you think about in terms of the controversy and people upset with the money and pointing the fingers not only at you at the board, but and what has happened in terms of asking you to kind of step aside for a while they figure this out?
I was shocked yesterday that the board asked me to go on a paid administrative leave, or directed me to, I guess I should say. I have been pretty open, straightforward with the board. Um, Throughout my career, we have worked well together. And as far as my contract goes, it was negotiated as we have negotiated every other contract. The board president represents the board, comes to me, we talk about terms and so forth, and they're given a proposal, and they obviously, as my boss, which the board is, have the right to agree, disagree, negotiate back and forth, and so forth. And so I understand that people may not like the terms of my contract for whatever reason, but it was fairly negotiated, just as the board fairly negotiates contracts with the teachers union and our support staff union.
Do you think it's fair that you got paid back for the education? And there's the issue with the family vacation. That's some of the bigger items that people seem to keep raising since you've already agreed to pay back the bonus.
Well, the incentive was a retention incentive designed to encourage me to resist solicitation from other school districts for employment. And that is becoming more and more common. I think as most people are beginning to realize that there's not a lot of people jumping up and down to become superintendents of school districts. And so the board, I think, saw that and offered me a retention incentive to keep me here, and I upheld my end of the agreement. The part with the trip to Orlando, that was a debacle from the start. Initially, I had agreed to go with the Board of Education. At that time, I believe it was only like a year and a half into my superintendency, and the board was encouraging me to go, and I had promised my family that we'd go on a spring break trip, and just as it would happen to be, late in the game, I realized the two conflicted with each other. They overlapped, and then I decided I wasn't going to go, and then the board encouraged me to go, and said, take your family along. And again, it wasn't to pay for them. That's, I think, what's being misrepresented here, is that I made certain to separate any of the expenditures for my family from the trip itself. And as I had said to the board and anybody else here recently, if there was any error, overlap of funds, I am more than willing to cover the cost for that, because it was never my intent to have the district cover any costs associated with my family being in Florida for that NSBA conference. And we even stayed a few days longer after the conference, and I paid for that myself.
And then in terms of the money for the MBA and whatnot?
Well, as terms with regard to the MBA, that's been a part of my contract for a number of years, that the board would cover my costs to improve my professional knowledge, skills, and so forth. And the board and I talked about the need to get an MBA. Here in this community, we have heard over and over again from community members that they want someone with more of a business mindset running the school district. And so the board and I mutually agreed that I would pursue an MBA so that it would help me gain a little better business acumen when it comes to running a school district. So we looked at a number of schools, and at that time, a board member helped me through that process and really kind of helped me land on Case Western Reserve as the option. And then the board president at the time signed the employer agreement with Case Western Reserve. So it was mutually agreed upon. It wasn't like I was jumping up and down to go into a program like that, because it truly engulfed 2 years of my life. And I put in hundreds of hours beyond my normal workday as superintendent to gain that degree. And certainly if it wasn't necessary for the job, I wouldn't have done it, because there's really no need for me to have that degree outside of doing my job as superintendent.
Do you feel that you've done anything wrong here?
No. I think I've been above board. I think I've communicated with the board all my intentions. I've worked hard to try to make sure that I provided all documentation and I followed procedures and policies. And when it comes to using the ESC, I communicated clearly to the board president at the time that my intent was to take the funds out of the ESC and truly use the ESC as an alternative to taking money out of the general fund, because the general fund supports programs for students and so forth. And I also followed the guidelines and expectations of the ESC. They have a treasurer, they have a superintendent, they have a board, and they get audited just like the Medina City School District. And if there was any time that anything was procedurally incorrect, I would have expected that they would have said to us, "Hey, you need to do this differently," and we would have, because there was never any intent of hiding, like I know people are trying to create that perception.
Do you feel that at any point this is becoming such a distraction, because there have been calls for board members to step down or for you to step down? Would you even consider that because of the distraction that has caused the district?
I am not going to resign. I did not do anything wrong, and I do not intend to resign at all. I love this school district. I love this community. I moved my family here when I became superintendent. That's how much I cared about this school district. I worked here, I left, and I came back because I love this school district and this community. And my heart and soul is here in Medina, and I have no intentions of resigning.
And in terms of paying that money back, that's going over a period of time. Is that how that's going to work?
Yeah.
Smaller payments.
Right.
Over?
That's going over a period of time. And the reason is that the board, allocated those, or the board paid me those funds, and then I've already allocated those funds, and so I've agreed to pay it back, and I will.
Over how long will that take? Do you know?
Over the term of my contract.
Over the term of your contract.
Right.
Okay. Okay. Does this levy have any chance, given the state of the district, the controversy that's surrounding it?
I don't know. And I know people want to place blame for the failure of this levy in the future in May, if it should fail, on everything that's happened. But I think people have to realize that we've had a levy on the ballot for 5 years, and it's failed every year. And we had one of the smallest levies on the ballot in November in the state of Ohio at 3.9 mils, and it failed. Now, it was close. We needed about 500 or 600 votes to pass it. So I don't know that you can solely say this is the cause for the failure if it does fail. Like I wouldn't say you could say this is the cause of the passage if it should pass. Right. There are a lot of factors that go into that, and I know that people are upset with the board, people are upset with me, but I also know that there are supporters out there as well who think what's happened here has become a witch hunt, and it's become a total distraction and a horrible representation of what this community really is.
Where do you go from here? Is this taking a toll on you personally, stress related? I mean,
yeah, true. I mean, of course, this has been, you think about it, it's been 5 weeks of nonstop publicity about this thing, and sure, I mean, I don't sleep, I don't eat well. It's stressful, truly, and it does take a mental toll on my family. My kids, I've had to take them out of school a couple of times because of some of the issues around this, which is just totally uncalled for. Adults should be able to work through issues as adults and not make them personal. We can agree, we can disagree, but I'm not sure why it has to become so personal.
So why is it worth it for you to stay, given all the distractions and the personal toll it's taken on you and the way that you've been treated or the way you perceive it?
Because I'm committed. I'm loyal. I believe in education, I believe in kids, and I believe in helping children achieve to a higher level and to realize their dreams. And that's what my life's been about, and that's what they should work towards as well. And that's what education is. It's about helping people better themselves and improve.